Hi there, my name is Alison Myrden. I am a federal medical marijuana exemptee in Canada, which means I'm a legal cannabis patient here in the country. And I'm also a speaker for law enforcement against prohibition, LEAP, L-E-A-P. And we can be found at www.leap. I'm here today to talk to you about some of the problems with the war on drugs that we're experiencing in Canada. As it stands today, marijuana is legal for patients like myself who are legally allowed to, as I said, use it as medicine, and it's also illegal for people who use it on the street or for social reasons. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this video today. I wanted to tell you and share with you some studies that I've had that were given to me by some wonderful people at LEAP that we want to share with everybody in the world. First of all, there are a number of amazing studies out there that we're all aware of, starting with the Senate committee report here in Canada, and I want you to all try and get a copy of that if you can. Secondly, actually I should say before that, there was something called the Ledane report, which came out in 1970 that the government of Canada commissioned for an inquiry for, and it was into the non-medical use of drugs. This report distinguished Canadian experts on the government commission that was held by law school dean, later Supreme Court Justice Gerald Ledane. The report was similar to another great commission report in terms of non-martial, calm approach to the facts and its belief that marijuana use did not constitute a great threat to public welfare. The official governmental commission was remarkable in the extent to which its report portrayed casual drug users as decent, thoughtful citizens whose views deserved the fullest possible hearing by the government in the process of developing drug control strategies. There's also another report that I'll tell you about in a moment. This report that I was just mentioning is called the Wooten Report, W-O-O-T-T-O-N, from England from 1968. This report found some of the following things. One, there is no evidence that in Western society serious physical dangers are directly associated with the smoking of cannabis. Two, it can clearly be argued on the world picture that cannabis does not lead to heroin addiction. Again, three, the evidence of a link with violent crime is far stronger with alcohol than it is with smoking cannabis. And four, lastly, there is no evidence that this activity is producing otherwise normal people conditions of dependence or psychosis requiring medical treatment. Hi, the next report I'd like to tell you about is called the LaGuardia Committee Report, Mayor's Committee on Marijuana. That was from 1944 in the United States. The conclusions of this study came that the practice of smoking marijuana does not lead to the addiction in the medical sense of the word, and that the use of marijuana does not lead to heroin, morphine, cocaine addiction, and in no effort is made to create a market for those narcotics by stimulating the practice of marijuana smoking. Finally, the publicity concerning the catastrophic effects of marijuana smoking in New York City is unfounded, and that was in 1944, people. So we've been doing this for a very long time. The next study I'd like to tell you about is called the Consumers Report, Union Report on Licit and Illicit Drugs by Edward M. Brecher and the editors of Consumer Reports magazine. This is a landmark study and a must-read for those in the issue. Used as a basic textbook and major at universities, this is imperative for all to read. It presents a comprehensive, fascinating, and highly readable overview of the entire drug issue. It is certainly one of the books which should be read by anyone who wants to know anything about this subject. The recommendations in this report include: 1. Stop emphasizing measures designed to keep drugs away from people. 2. Stop publicizing the horrors of the drug menace. 3. Stop increasing the damage done by drugs. 4. Stop misclassifying drugs. 5. Stop viewing the drug problem as primarily a national problem to be solved on a national scale. 6. Stop pursuing the goal of stamping out illicit drug use. 7. Consumers Report recommends the immediate repeal of all federal laws governing the growing, processing, transportation, sale, possession, and use of marijuana. And again, this was from 1972 in the United States, the Consumers Union Report on Licit and Illicit Drugs by Edward M. Brecher. The next report I'd like to tell you about is from 1980, and it's called The Facts About Drug Abuse. This particular study I find fascinating, and it's one that I quote quite frequently. It's from 1980, like I said, and it's from the Drug Abuse Council. A 1972 report to the Ford Foundation dealing with drug abuse concluded that current drug policies were unlikely to eliminate or greatly affect drug abuse. This conclusion led to the creation and joint funding by 4 major foundations of a broadly based, independent National Drug Abuse Council. The council received and assessed laws, programs, and projected federal, state, and local private and governmental related issues to use and misuse of psychoactive drugs. In its final report, the Council Board of Directors offered a set of observations considered central to the process of reaching consistent, coherent, and responsible approaches to drug abuse and misuse. Number 1, psychoactive substances have been available throughout recorded history and will remain so. To try to eliminate them is completely unrealistic. 2, the use of psychoactive drugs is pervasive, but misuse is much less frequent, and the failure to make the distinction between use and misuse creates the impression that all misuse leads to addiction. 3, there is a clear relationship between drug misuse and pervasive societal ills such as poverty, racial discrimination, and unemployment, and we can expect drug misuse as long as these adverse social conditions persist. 4, the price of an effective strategy to eliminate drug misuse through criminal law would be perceived by many Americans and Canadians as too high in terms of invasions of privacy and abrogations of individual liberties. 5, drug laws and policies attend insufficiently to the problems of people misusing drugs and too much to the properties of drugs themselves, as though the drugs were somehow inherently to blame. 6, too many people have unrealistic expectations about what drug policies and programs can accomplish. And 7, we have a regrettable tendency to blame our drug problems on others and failing to recognize that our drug problems are problems of our own national experience. Thank you so much for tuning into this little ditty that we made today on the internet. We just wanted to share our feelings with you and tell you that this drug war is absolute nonsense. As a medical patient, I'm caught right smack in the middle of it, and unless I had marijuana today, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. Without this cannabis, I'd be taking over 32 pills and 2,000 milligrams of morphine every day, and I want people to understand that. I just can't function without cannabis. Again, this is Alison Myrden for my first report from the Medical Marijuana Mission, signing off, saying again, and reporting from LEAP. I want you to check us out at www.leap.cc. I know I'll see you there. Peace out.